Welcome to the New Leaf podcast. Today we were joined by Rebecca Penny from Planit Financial. She spoke about being turned down by literally everyone in the industry.
I thought I'd go down the network routes, and given the client experience that I've got, albeit in a slightly different space, I thought, well, that will be fine because the networks will be quite responsive to me, but they weren't.
Okay.
They wanted an existing client bank, which of course I didn't have.
In this episode, we hear from somebody who has just done it. They set up their business last year, and you can find out how you can too.
But also the way my mind works is, what if this happens? What if this happens? So I think sometimes you just need to think it's going to be okay.
Cool. So hello and welcome to the New Leaf podcast. Today I'm joined by Rebecca. Nice to have you on. How are you doing?
Morning. I'm good. How are you?
Really good. Really happy to get started today. So
Good stuff.
Straight into it. What we want to know from you today is, what was the moment you decided to build your own financial advice firm?
That's a toughie, isn't it? To pinpoint an exact moment. There were a few things for me, actually. It took me a few years to pivot into this role.
Yeah.
And my background is working in kind of private banking and always helping sort of very wealthy people. And there were a few times where, as I've got a bit older, it just didn't start to sit right with my social conscience, saying no to so many people when we know, as an industry, and we know there's so many people out there that need our help and support and our guidance.
Yeah. And
we talk a lot about niching, don't we? But in that environment, we were niched so heavily that there was no autonomy over who you could help. So it always felt for me like there wasn't something quite right in what I was doing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
And did that persist for a long time?
A few years. So I would say I started thinking about doing this maybe 3 or 4 years before I actually took the leap to do it. Part of that was because I had a very nice job with a very nice salary, and walking away from that was a bit of a challenge. But also the way my mind works is, what if this happens? What if this happens? So I think sometimes you just need to think it's going to be okay. But yeah, it took me a few years to decide on it. And I mean, I come from a family business background. So my dad's always run his own businesses, and I've always worked with business owners. So I always had a little niggle in there. But you get to the point where something gives you the confidence to tip over that edge. And for me, it was just a culmination of things, wanting to help more people because I know that people need help out there, wanting to have a better family life. Look, we talk to our clients about, what life do you want to build? Yet, are we always doing that for ourselves? So there was a disconnect for me with that. And then juggling a small person at home as well. I was like, there's got to be a better way to do all of this. So not one point, but quite a few different things made me do it, really.
Okay, so you touched on a couple of things there, but what would you say were the main challenges to actually getting started?
I think we forget sometimes that we are subject to the same regulation as a big bank. So it's very difficult to just set yourself up. Lots of people have said to me on this journey from outside the industry, well, you could just do this and you could just do that. And I'm like, well, you can't just do this. So there is a process that you have to follow. And that was a challenge initially at the outset, because I thought, I'll go directly authorised. That will be fine. I've got some experience in the sector. That will be fine. No, that wasn't fine. I thought I'd go down the network routes, and given the client experience that I've got, albeit in a slightly different space, I thought, well, that will be fine because the networks will be quite responsive to me. But they weren't.
Okay.
They wanted an existing client bank, which of course I didn't have. They wanted me to confirm that I would bring a certain level of income with me, which I couldn't. And some of them wouldn't even talk to me. I had one guy on the phone, and we won't bring names of networks and things like that into it, but literally 10 seconds, no, we're not interested in talking to you. So that for me was a real challenge, because if someone came to me now in my business with client-facing experience, not even necessarily in financial services, be lapping them up.
Yeah, so why do you think that was then? Why do you think they said no?
Well, I think every network is different, aren't they? And I think some networks see themselves as providing, you're working for them. You're kind of a quasi employee to provide revenue for them. You guys don't look at it that way. You look at it that you're working for us.
Yeah.
Yes, we're a team and we've got some things that are shared, but you provide a service to us, and it was a totally different approach. So when I spoke to you guys, Mark Hobbs was really open-minded, because I had some challenges because I didn't have certain qualifications and there were a few bits I needed to get over the line. But it was just interesting that the approach was very much from certain networks that you work for us.
Yeah.
And if we don't like you, it was like an interview process. And I speak to lots of people now who are looking at getting into the industry, and there's quite often a view of, well, I'm going to be interviewing networks, and I'm like, no, they're going to be interviewing you as well.
Sure.
And I know you guys still have that process, but it felt very more open. But that for me was the biggest challenge. I also spoke to some firms, some existing financial advice firms that I used to refer clients to when I was in the bank, and they weren't interested at all.
Okay, so there was a lot of closed doors in your face.
There was a lot of closed doors. But that actually, for me, helped me make that decision of, I don't want to work with people like this, and I want to do it my way within the confines of what we can do within our regulations and things like that. So getting in was a challenge, and I think we need to be better as an industry to recognise where people have the talent and the drive and even some of the skills to bring them through. And that's what you guys do fantastically with the New Leaf proposition.
Oh, thanks for the feedback. So now you're established and you're up and running, and fast forward into the story of yours. What would you say now are the USPs, the kind of differentiators with your business? What are you focusing on and making sure that clients know that you do well?
So when I started my business, I really took some time to think about my beliefs and my values as an individual, because that was ultimately why I'd walked away from the career that I had first time round.
Yeah.
So for me, I have an innate desire that I want to help everyone. Now I recognise that we can't help everyone in the same way.
Yeah.
So my business is built on the basis that we can help everyone, but we have different solutions for those people. So we might have some solutions for people that are starting to invest, might have some solutions for people who are, they're already well on their investment journey. So the business treats no two people the same, but in the right way, if that makes sense. So our strapline is about building confident financial futures.
Okay, very important.
Really important. And the reason where I came to that sort of thought process was because everyone tells us that they don't learn enough about money. They don't have the confidence to do what they think or know that they maybe should be doing with their money. And confidence comes from the Latin word, which is confido, which means to trust. And that's so important. So again, difficult to pinpoint one USP, but I hope that those values and that proposition that we're here to build confidence, and the products and services that we use to do that ultimately helps people build confidence, whether that's for retirement, whether that's for investments, whether that's for doing something with a property. But if you can build that underlying confidence in people, then they can build the lives that they want.
Yeah. And so how do you go about promoting that and making sure that potential clients know that that's what they're going to get from you?
Mm. So you have to tell them.
Yeah, you have to tell them.
You have to tell them, and you have to tell other people, because you can only do so much yourself to get the word out.
Yeah.
So we're about to, I can't say too much about it, but we're about to embark on a joint venture in terms of bringing financial education to schools. We look at, I look at speaking in lots of different places about finances and confidence, and it's never from a sales angle, from a pitching angle of we need to be investing. If you look at a lot of the financial content out there, it's bang straight into investments.
What to do with your
straight into
£500,000
pensions. But there's one really important thing in our space, and it's that there's a disconnect between knowledge and action, and people think if they don't have the knowledge, they can't do the action. And my role is to tell them we can give you the knowledge, and we can help you take that action.
Yeah.
So you just have to educate people, but I try not to do it in a, here you go, Sam, let's talk about your risk profile and some investments, because people's knowledge of this stuff is just not there yet.
Yeah. Do you think people's knowledge is kind of lower than a lot of people would expect or assume?
I'm not sure. Some people take it upon themselves to look at social media, to read the press, to try and self-educate about this stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are so overwhelmed by it that they don't go anywhere near it. And a lot of that is driven by, our past experiences, our money beliefs, our family stories, those sorts of things. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a bit lazy just to assume that everybody on the street, that's not in financial services doesn't understand it at all. There will be those people. But also there's some people that really take an interest, isn't there? And they've maybe managed family money before, or their own assets. And then that's a different challenge, isn't it? To engage with those people and kind of show your worth, where you're going to add value.
I mean, historically, we've not talked about money in this country, have we? It's only 2 or 3 generations. I mean, I can certainly remember growing up, you didn't ask someone how much their house was. Now we're all on Rightmove, scrolling to see, I wonder what they bought. Yeah. They bought the house for.
Yeah, I'm on Zoopla, yeah.
Yeah, so times have changed completely. So it takes, I think it's something like 4 or 5 generations to unwind kind of financial trauma and all of these sorts of things. So I think it's dangerous to assume people don't know anything, but it's also, we know so much more than people do because we just don't talk about money enough. And so I see that massively as part of our role. Yes, we deal with people who need some real support and guidance, but part of the driver at Planit is to give some support and some help and to offer some stuff to people who may not need our full support at the moment, because we also need to generate a pipeline and they will be the next clients coming through.
Yeah. Intergenerational wealth transfer. How many presentations have we seen on this? And again, it's action, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all very well knowing about it, knowing the trillions of pounds are coming down. What are we going to do about it? Yeah. So at Planit, are you using, would you say you're a keen proponent of technology?
I'm trying.
Yeah, you're trying. You're getting there.
I'm using more technology than I ever thought I would.
Okay,
actually,
interesting.
Because my previous career, such a large organisations in the corporates, they're not very agile. They don't embrace a lot of this technology. I'm sure they are now, or there's a person in a team somewhere who is looking at it all. I have a small business. It's me, but there's also ChatGPT, who's about four other people. Yeah. So I have. We were talking about earlier when I came in, haven't we? I've got to the point now with my business that I've got too much to do in a good way.
Yeah.
So I need to outsource some of that. But I also, at this stage, want to retain some control over that. So I outsource some of that to ChatGPT. So for example, I will take a marketing document for an insurance product, readily available PDFs that we have as advisors. I'll put those into ChatGPT and I'll say, read these PDFs, generate some marketing material from these PDFs. Bang, done. 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, and the first time you do it, it's like you've discovered...
Blows your mind.
Superpower, isn't it?
The challenge you have with it is like, I could do it for this and I could do it for that. And, let me have a look at this. So I try to be quite regimented with, I'm going to use it to create X, Y, Z, and then I'm going to stop playing with it. But I've started trialling some of the voice, the note takers and things like that. And I think they're going to be crazy for us in our business. So the ones that will give you a summary of a meeting, but it's not just that. It's not just about saving our time. It's about, they will tell you how much of the conversation was positive or negative. Now, if you're dealing with a vulnerable client and they're saying, yes, Rebecca, that's great, and you're thinking, I'm not sure about that, and you can go away and look at a transcript and look at something that said, actually, there was a change in that tone of that voice and we're not sure about it. I think it could be a game changer for us.
Absolutely. Well, what's the alternative to get to that level of insight and kind of introspective thought from reviewing your performance? Yeah. How do you do that otherwise? Do you take someone along to every meeting, or do you listen to 2-hour recording?
Training, things like that. It will be amazing. We've all come out of meetings and gone, did I ask too many questions? Did I let them speak enough? Well, it will tell you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're definitely on board with that. Our supervisors and one of our mentors, Kerry Weaver, who you would have worked with. Yeah. We're working out how to get the most out of AI from that perspective. So yeah, thank you for that. So obviously we're in the early days, but looking back on the journey you've been on, is there one decision or strategy or something that you implemented you think that's been the most impactful for you so far?
Apart from joining you guys, you mean?
I was just gonna point that one out. Apart from joining us, yeah, what would you say?
The biggest thing that has shifted my business's performance actually, probably over the last couple of months, I've outsourced a PA.
Yeah.
So I've embraced all the technology, that's great. But actually having another person on board, which is part of what you do as well, to really change your thought process into this isn't just me at home.
Yeah.
Doing a few bits for a few people. Actually, now I've got almost a real inverted commas employee that's not a bot, who I am giving work to and who is now involved in the growth of my business and is bringing some accountability towards me. That has been a real gear change, because I got to the point where I was like, this is great, but I'm at home in my room. You guys know what I'm doing, but no one else knows what I'm doing with clients. So that really shifted my thought process, and to be able to then integrate them with AI and shift so much stuff off my desk that allows me to go and really focus on the client work and, you know, doing what we do best.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone was listening and they were maybe struggling and thinking, you know, maybe they've tried this before, maybe they're looking to try it. What's one piece of advice you could give them that you think would help them?
So I was listening to a podcast the other day, so I'd love to take credit for this, but I can't. But I heard it and I was like, bingo, that's everything in my business and our industry. So it was about ask yourself the question whether you are in charge or whether you're in control. Okay. Now, in our industry, we cannot be in charge because we've got regulators, we've got government, we've got legislation. There is always a higher power dictating, and they do dictate certain things, don't they? We've got compliance, we've got all of these things. And you can spend a lot of time getting wound up about, or compliance said this, or, oh, I just want to do this, or I just want to do that, and that you can't. Or we've spent all this time helping our clients invest into their pensions because they're great for estate planning, but now they're not in a couple of years. But we can't change, you know, we're not in charge of that. We can't change it. But what you can do is be in control of what you're doing. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to live by now in my business. And I think if I'd have taken that approach a bit earlier on, that would have been really useful.
So you think it's easy to be distracted, be taken off course by things you can't really control?
Yes.
So just focus on what you can do.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time when I started, and I speak to a lot of new advisors, and they talk about things like, oh, well, I want free reign over what my documents look like and the words in my documents. And I'm like, but they don't bring the money in. The client signs that. We can spend a whole lot of time making things look pretty or put them into AI or all of this, but you've got to focus on where the numbers are coming from, certainly at the beginning, because that is what will make you feel like, oh, actually, I'm doing okay here because I can pay my bills, I've replaced a salary or whatever. So I think, I mean, that's an example of where if you've got your network, you know, you guys provide us with a whole amount of stuff, but I do see a lot of people saying, oh, well, I want to change that. I mean, I've done it myself. I've sent stuff to you saying,
we had a
can
few,
we change this? Can we change that?
Yeah.
And that was at the beginning of my journey with you guys. You probably see less of me doing that now because I'm like, right, just get on with what I can control. Everything else that we need, you know, is fit for purpose and it's great. And as time goes on, then you can change and you can tweak. But the thing that gets you stressed out is if you haven't got any money coming through the door.
Yeah.
And if you're putting your documents into ChatGPT rather than going to see clients, then...
Okay, so focus on what you can control and make sure it's something that brings money in. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably a good life lesson, isn't it? Not just for IFAs and mortgage brokers. Brilliant. Okay, so last thing then. Yeah. We are, on the New Leaf podcast, we are focusing on turning over a new leaf in financial services. So for yourself and Planit at the moment, what's the new thing you're doing? What's the new focus?
So the focus for me, it's not necessarily new for me, but it's new. I think it's a new way of doing it in the industry. It's going back to what I said earlier, is providing solutions for everyone, but in different scenarios, in different, different ways. So I had a potential client inquire last week. I couldn't help him. It wouldn't have been cost effective for me to help him, but I provided a solution because I provided him with a handout with some ideas of where he could go. I then had another person come to me, doesn't quite fit the proposition, but you don't just tell people that, no, we can't help.
Yeah,
you
sorry, you don't fit my proposition.
Pardon?
Sorry, you don't fit my proposition.
No.
You wouldn't say that, would you?
And in fact, the very first client I took on when I joined New Leaf, she said to me, the last financial advisor told me that we didn't have enough money for them. And she was like, that's all our money. You can't say that to people. Like, it makes me emotional when you think about it. That's people's lives. So we have to, if we want sustainable businesses in the long term, people have to be aware and educated in financial services. And we can do that. We're in a place that we can do that. And now we've got AI and we've got all of those things. We can provide solutions for everyone. And our industry historically hasn't done that, but you can do it. And you can do it without it taking up all your time and your attention from generating revenue for your business.
Yeah, so it's not going to replace anybody, but it's going to make it much more accessible.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that don't have access are maybe the guys that need it most, right?
Yeah. And one day they may be clients, you know. People live long lives, touch wood, and they may need help at a later date, but that's not the driver for doing it.
The driver is?
Building confident financial futures.
Brilliant.
For everyone.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rebecca, on the New Leaf podcast.